Thanks, Kurt. They're lining up in the sixth. Speaking of shadow, it's up to you, Woodmere Jade. Speak up, Bun. Run for the money. And Elm Grove, Red Wine. 6 fillies in the sixth. The second division of the Milton Downey Memorial, top of the stretch. Here they come. There they go. They're off and pacing. Speaking of shadow towards the inside, it's up to you. We'll leave with her from the outside. Elm Grove Red Wine is also out there. Woodmere Jade will cut the corner. She's now moving up third. Elm Grove Red Wine will now settle away to be fourth. Then in fifth is Speak Up Bun, and trailing the field is Run for the Money. Into the backstretch to go. Speaking of shadow, and Mike McGuigan have the lead. Second towards the inside now is It's Up to You. She's right up on the helmet. Right there from third is Woodmere Jade. Then Elm Grove Red Wine is fourth. Second from last from fifth is Speak Up Bun. And trailing the field is Run for the Money as they just passed the opening quarter. And it is, speaking of shadow, she was at the quarter in 30 and 2/5. Speaking of shadow, rounding the turn with the lead by about 2. Second towards the inside is It's Up to You. Racing from third, Woodmere Jade. Elm Grove Red Wine is fourth. No movement yet as they head by 3/8 and come off the turn and straighten down the stretch with the opening half mile in their sights. It is, speaking of shadow, controlling the fractions. Second towards the inside, It's Up to You. Woodmere Jade is third. No one moves yet. Fourth at the inside is Elm Grove Red Wine, and there she goes. She now gets underway. First up, Dowling with Elm Grove Red Wine will now go first up, moving up third. On that cover will come Speak Up Bun, and Run for the Money will look to move up the inside as they head round the turn. Speaking of shadow, the half in 1:01 and 2. They backed it up to 31 seconds in the second quarter. Into the backstretch to go. Speaking of shadow with the lead. From the outside, Elm Grove Red Wine is grinding it out first over. It's Up to You is right there from third. Outside fourth now Woodmere Jade. Then it's Run for the Money, and trailing the field is Speak Up Bun as they arrive at 3/4. Speaking of shadow, has put away Elm Grove Red Wine as they're down to less than a quarter of a mile to go. 3/4 in 1:31 and 2. 30 seconds in the third. And it is, speaking of shadow, rounding the final turn. It's Up to You will now come out for the stretch drive for Barrio. Now moving up third is Run for the Money. Elm Grove Red Wine is backpedaling as they will turn for home. Speaking of shadow, from the outside, It's Up to You is now taking the lead. Speaking of shadow on the inside, It's Up to You is grinding it out. Here's Run for the Money looking for the upset deep in the stretch. Speaking of shadow, It's Up to You. Run for the Money at the line. I believe it may have been It's Up to You. We're going to need a photo. It's Up to You. Run for the Money. And speaking of shadow, all three of them right there at the wire. Time for the mile in 2:03 flat.
And what a finish here in race number 6. And of course, speaking of shadow, went right to the front. It's Up to You, set in the 2-hole. Then Mike McGuigan got a small breather there in the second quarter, and they came moving from the backfield. But look at that down the home stretch. We'll see it in slow-mo. And on the outside, It's Up to You looked to have cleared quite easily. But wow, look at Run for the Money. And Trites angles her out to the outside. Speaking of shadow, is still right there on the inside as they get through to deep stretch, and they're coming 3 across the racetrack here to the finish, and it was close. I got a call, maybe It's Up to You over, speaking of shadow, maybe Run for the Money, but we'll leave it up to the photo finish here in race number 6 to determine the winner. And we should have that for you momentarily. But what a race. 3 wide down the home stretch. And how about the long shot? Run for the Money right in the picture. So again, hold all tickets. The photo sign is up.
You, It's Up to You is the winner in the photo parade. The 2, It's Up to You.
There you go. Kevin McLean gets another training win here this afternoon to bolster his training average. Reg McPherson owns. Daughter of Roll With It, Harry, got a beautiful trip in Barrio. Gets her up to win it here. Post parade, or the winner circle celebration coming up next.
Back towards the winner's circle out of race number 6 is the winner of the second division of the Milton Downey Memorial. That is the 2, It's Up to You. She's a Bay filly, 2 years old, by Roll With It Harry, out of a Better Delight mare, Safety Net. Owned by Reg McPherson of Stratford PEI. Kevin McLean is the winning trainer. Gilles Barrio, the winning driver, as she scores in 2:03 flat. It's Up to You picks up her second win on 6 starts on the year. It's Up to You in the Milton Downey Memorial second division.